Meghan Markle's narrative has been shrouded in mystery, glitz, and the type of quiet that draws people in for years. However, nobody anticipated the stillness to break this time. Meghan's own sister, Samantha Markle, finally came up with something far more harmful than rumor or rage. Lucidity. She talked about rumors that had been circulating for years. There are rumors that Meghan, who is only 28 years old, may have had a hysteric episode. A procedure that transforms everything. A procedure that may change the narrative of Archie, Leet, and every peculiar incident that left people perplexed and wondering. Samantha refrained from shouting. She was not overly dramatic. People need to look at the timeline, she remarked plainly. Without knowing the truth, nothing adds up. The doors suddenly split open. Behind, it was a narrative of children who vanished from public view. Pregnancies that didn't act like pregnancies, and an essay that made grand claims but provided nothing tangible. We enter that door tonight. We must acknowledge that when inquiries about Archie and Leet became more frequent, people began to detect something odd. Every route, rumor, time frame, and inexplicable event appeared to go to the same destination. Surrogacy. Surrogacy is no longer a scandal or a secret in the majority of households. For parents who are unable to conceive, it's a lovely option. People commemorate it. They discuss it candidly. They pay tribute to the mother who assisted in the birth of the kid. Meghan, however, was not your typical lady. Her world wasn't just any planet, either. Bloodlines are regarded as treasure troves inside the royal family. Everything is monitored, tallied, and documented. It concerns who was born to whom, how, and where. For succession as well as tradition. Questions arise like storm clouds if a royal kid is not born from the mother's body. Do they belong to the succession plan? Do they qualify for titles? Are they regarded as royal heirs under the law? Admitting surrogacy would be like exposing a fissure in a flawless glass sculpture for Meghan, whose entire public persona had become a blend of glamour, defiance, and control. If Samantha Markle was correct and Meghan had a hysterectomy at the age of 28, then all subsequent pregnancies were not only private, but also impossible. At that point, the rumor changed from being lighthearted to being serious. The kids could be real, but did Meghan give birth to them? The mystery revolved on that question. Additionally, the tale made less sense the deeper people examined. This is when the intriguing part of the exposé begins. A fresh voice joined the narrative after years of rumors, quiet, and bizarre time frames. The world has never seen such a lady. She refers to herself as DL. Calm clarity without a blur, disguise, or shaky voice. And everything was altered by her first statement. I carried both Liliette and Archie. According to DL, she wasn't a helper or a donor. While Meghan showed up in public with a belly, she was the full surrogate, the one carrying the pregnancies. Never belonged to her, according to DL. She claimed she was handled like an object despite being promised protection and privacy. They didn't treat me like a mother. I wasn't treated like a woman, according to DL. They handled me like a vessel. She's finished being quiet now. DL didn't have a narrative. She brought proof. Schedules for embryo implantation, appointment logs, doctor signatures, and progress notes are all dated, stamped, and in rhythm with Meghan's public pregnancy announcements. The full royal pregnancy timetable is nearly exactly reflected in these records, which DL claims were obtained from a former insider at a Beverly Hills reproductive clinic. She went on to describe how it started. The precise moment Harry and Meghan announced their pregnancy to the world in late 2018. However, DL claimed that she, not Meghan, was carrying the pregnancy. The image grew more evident the more she described the contract, the secret meetings, and the secrecy. Two time frames were present. Point 1, the public one with radiant pictures and fashionable pregnant attire. 2, the secret one taking place within DL's body at a clinic. Only one of them was genuine as they ran beside each other. The aspect of the narrative that no one had ever thought about was disclosed by DL. The real medical chronology. She claims that within a few weeks after the royal wedding, she was approached, brought via special gates, given a lengthy contract about anonymity and confidentiality, and enrolled in a well-planned medical program. Meghan's public pregnancy journey coincided with every visit, date, and procedure. According to DL, the IVF cycle started prior to the public announcement. Implantation took place in close proximity to the royal press announcement. Meghan's first public bump appearance coincided with her first trimester symptoms. Her due dates coincided with the reported births of Archie and Lilith. However, this was the most impactful moment. DL claims that the contract was intended to totally delete her. No voice, no pictures, no claims. One pregnancy was occurring covertly while another was being publicly displayed. One lady is pregnant, while another is carrying the kid. One truth, two tales. And DL was prepared to speak it aloud for the first time. DL provided evidence in addition to her words. Her patient ID was imprinted on 2 ultrasound files that nearly exactly matched Archie's 2019 pregnancy and Leet's 2020 pregnancy. Just medical timestamps that coincided with Meghan's public statements like jigsaw pieces fitting together. No conjecture or guesswork. The money bank statements that revealed covert wire transactions made through shell corporations followed. According to DL, these payments were related to her contract. She says the payments were never provided in full. It was easy to see the trend. Similar sums and the same days every month were all linked to financial managers in Meghan and Harry's social circle. The sealed NDA, a hefty contract with huge characters that demanded perpetual silence, was the biggest hit, though DL claims that if she ever talked, there were threats of financial devastation. However, some of it could not even be enforced outside of the United States, according to her attorneys. She's only talking now because of that tiny loophole. The moment that shocked everyone then arrived. On camera, DL said that she was prepared for a public DNA test. No private no editing. A test that directly compares her DNA to those of Archie and Leet. You'll know in minutes if I'm lying, she continued. A challenge like that would be impossible for any PR firm, monarch, or celebrity to overlook. The iconic scene in which Meghan bowed forward and her baby bulge crumpled quickly, almost like fabric falling, started to seem different now that DL had seen her side. People dismissed it at the time. A bizarre outfit and an odd viewpoint, but when DL's assertions were put on the table, everything clicked. DL said it wasn't her pregnancy. It's not possible. I owned it. And then there was the actual birth. No hurry convoy. No hospital glimpse. No medical personnel waving at photographers. No royal picture call. Just the kindness William and Kate consistently displayed. Rather, Harry announced Archie's birth as if it were a school assignment while standing next to horse stables. Uncomfortable, anxious, and perplexed. It felt weird at the time. Since a woman may conceal a pregnancy, but not childbirth, it now felt deliberate. The stillness wasn't privacy if Meghan never went into a maternity ward. It served as defense. Defense of a plot that the world wasn't supposed to challenge. Up until now, everyone thought Harry was just copying Meghan. However, DL totally altered that. Harry wasn't ignorant, she claimed. He wasn't duped. He wasn't outdoors. He showed up for his appointments. DL claimed to have signed paperwork. He got to know me. He gave his approval to everything. He stared me in the eye, as she put it. It turned the story on its head. Because this wasn't Meghan's secret if Harry had been involved from the beginning. They kept it a secret. Insiders claim that Harry is now crumbling under the pressure. He continually checks for leaks, snaps at employees, cuts off old pals, and lives in a state of worry from which he is unable to escape. He never intended for things to get this far, according to rumors. That the boundary between lying to the public and defending Meghan vanished more quickly than he anticipated. The prince who desired seclusion is now drowning in the fallout for being silent. And this is only the start. Meghan and Harry said nothing, but the palace did. Advisors, attorneys, and constitutional specialists were abruptly called into private sessions behind the scenes. It's due to DL's proof, not rumors. The laws governing royal succession are straightforward and stringent. The mother's body must give birth to an heir. A formal declaration is required if a surrogate is utilized. No shortcuts, no secrets. However, Archie and Leet received royal titles and positions in the succession. If DL is speaking the truth, there was never a formal declaration of surrogacy. It's not a scandal. There's a constitutional problem there. One covert pregnancy arrangement might destroy centuries of tradition, a child's standing, and a royal bloodline. The late Queen's lifelong press secretary, Sir Edward Lane, finally spoke after years of silence. Surrogacy is not the risk. The deceit is the threat. And the palace's greatest dread is just that. Image is vital to the monarchy's existence. Trust is money. However, DL's assertions endanger both. Palace officials are now posing questions behind closed doors that they wish they would never have to. Were papers changed? Was the surrogacy known to anybody inside? Was the succession plan jeopardized? And when a royal record has been officially sealed, how can it be corrected? These are not gossip-related queries. They have to do with validity. The harm is long-lasting if the public ever thinks a royal birth was staged, faked, or concealed. It challenges the fundamental tenet of the monarchy, that bloodlines are important. Advisors are still afraid of the worst. The royal status of Archie and Libet may be contested if DL's allegations turn out to be accurate. It's not who they are, but rather how they came into the world. The quiet is oppressive, yet the palace isn't showing signs of alarm, the kind that indicates a fracture beneath. DL didn't come forward to share a depressing tale. She came forward to reveal what she refers to as the truth. She's not going to quit either. She's prepared more documents, scheduled more interviews, called more networks, and had more attorneys prepare comments. Meghan and Harry are unable to ignore the largest weapon she possesses, her DNA test. A public DNA test cannot be erased by any PR spin, palace statement, or diversion. DL claims she's ready to do it in front of cameras and with impartial specialists. The world will know if I'm lying, she adds. They will have to explain everything, though, if I'm not. Meghan's PR staff is frozen in the meantime. The palace is attempting to control a tale that has already leaked out of the walls while Harry is falling apart. DL was meant to be kept a secret. She may now be the most significant voice in the Sussex timeline. Every secret ultimately comes to light. In real time, this one is separating. DL's records, the medical chronology, the ultrasound records, the cash trail, the NDA, the DNA challenge, Harry's role, Meghan's silence, the terror at the palace, and the regulations of the monarchy. Now that all these elements are coming together, nobody can control the conclusion. There won't be a nice magazine cover or a well-planned interview if this story persists. It will conclude with a room full of attorneys, sworn declarations, and inescapable inquiries. Because there is no turning back once a tale reaches this point. There is no end to the fairy story. It's crumbling. Furthermore, neither Meghan nor Harry nor even the palace will write the next chapter. The truth itself will write it. And the door is already being knocked on by reality.